So keep the show to me. I'm the one who's funny. You're stupid and not the R word. Oh, f*** you. Oh, gosh, everyone. Did you miss me? Yes, you did. If you didn't, go fuck yourselves. That's the first curse of the day on an episode of Shrink This with Lisa Lampanelli about what else? Freedom of speech, freedom to say what I want and do what I want. So anyway, for the last 2 weeks, we were off because Nick had to have boob reduction surgery. Celia's here too. You seem to have had some boob reduction yourself.
Oh, no.
No, in a good way, bitch.
No.
Your side tit disappeared. Just kidding. You never had one. Looking good. Did you miss us?
I did, very much so.
Well, thankfully, Nick is not here. So this is like a soft re-entry.
Yeah.
Because this is just Lisa. So it's like entering with lube. Mm-hmm. With Nick here, it's full-on raw dog.
Yeah, it is.
So luckily, it is just us and my very special guest, and I will tell you how I know her. I have recently become associated because, as you know, Celia, I'm a woman of the theater.
Of course.
You know that's bullshit. I'm not at all. But I somehow got contacted to help. I would talk about maybe consult with this production of a play called The People Versus Lenny Bruce. Now, for you youngsters out there who listen to podcasts, you don't know who Lenny Bruce was. He was a funny, controversial comedian in the 50s and 60s who was sort of the martyr for free speech. He got persecuted. He got put on trial. What's funny is his material back then, when I read it now, is so tame compared to the stuff we say now that I'm like, oh my God, I would have been totally under arrest and probably executed in the 50s. Thankfully, I was still not even a sperm yet. Is that how I started, Celia? Could you look that up scientifically on ChatGPT?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you. You're such a researcher. So anyway, in this play, it's very beautiful. It's about freedom of speech, which I think really echoes what we're going through today in the world. I started working with them and they told me, an old friend of mine is in the fucking show. And it was like, get out, who? And they said, Roberta Wallach, who I almost dropped the phone because this bitch, I have her in studio. She is a premier stage and screen actress. She's like one of those classy actors, like who does things with like inside the actor's studio and like all fancy people like Juilliard, things like that. And I'm like always in awe of that because comedians are like fifth tier level of fanciness on in the entertainment scale. So Roberta, you are in this play. Say hello. Thank you for coming today.
Hello, my love, and watch your fucking language.
Watch that cunty mouth of yours.
Your fucking
I think
language,
so. You do
Lisa.
a count of cunts today.
Okay, I'll do a tally.
Wait, so we're 3 cunts in the studio. 3 cunts,
or
no
as the
waiting.
Brits say, cunts.
See, I don't like those Brits, and I'll tell you why. They think they're fancy. They think they're more astute and erudite than us. I would say you're erudite, Roberta. You have education. You taught me to.
I'm a dropout. You realize that, right?
Well, but you have acting education. Let me tell you, you were referred to me by Josh Peck. Do you remember Josh Peck?
Absolutely. Adore him.
Okay, look at Celia's face. She's gagging because she's like, how do you know Josh Peck, first of all? Okay, are you gagging that I know Josh Peck?
You mean Josh from Drake and Josh?
Correct.
Josh and I met.
Correct.
When we were in a movie together, the only unsuccessful Judd Apatow movie, Drill Bit Taylor, where I played Josh's mother. So it was when we've kept in touch. I love him. He's a mensch. So I saw him in a movie once that was a serious role. And I texted him. I was sobbing. He was so good in it. And I said, who is your acting teacher? I need to learn. And he referred me to the studio you worked at, Roberta, at the time.
Right, Susan Batson's studio.
Yeah. And guess how fancy of an actor Josh is? That method was so fucking complicated, I quit. I was like, Josh, you're smart. I don't get it. Can I just yell cunt on stage? I don't know. So I met you, and you're a great acting teacher. You taught me how to analyze a script, for God's sake. And I was too scared to continue because I just didn't have the chops.
Well, you can always start again now.
Yeah, what do you think? For someone of my age, I'm 60, almost 65, would you say maybe it would be a fun thing to start acting?
Well, I don't know that I'd use the adjective fun. But But it could be. It could be. I mean, the great thing about acting is, unlike other fields, if you're an athlete, you're done by a certain age. The great thing about acting is the more experience you have, the more you have to draw upon. So the older you get, boo-boo, the better you be.
I mean, girl, I have depth. Like
this is what I'm saying. And I've seen you on stage, and I beg to differ. You are a wonderful actor.
Oh, okay, Celia, see? Because Celia always tells me I stink. Now, Roberta, when I first met you, your dad, of course, the legendary Eli Wallach, I had just watched him for the 100th time because I love the movie so much in The Holiday with this Kate Winslet and Jack Black. And your father and your mom, Ann Jackson, iconic actors, correct? Was it hard growing up with that? I'm sure you're asked this 100 times.
People ask all the time, right? What did it feel like to grow up with famous parents? And, the asshole in me goes, well, you mean compared to what? Parents I've had in other lifetimes?
Yeah.
I mean, they were our parents. So, there are pros and cons to anything. I mean, I feel very blessed. I always half jokingly say I think I chose very wisely.
Wow.
But the real gift was that we had, we were a New York-based family, acting family, similar to the Stillers who lived right near us.
Yeah.
Right. So Ben and I always joke that, when people would ask who are your parents, I would say Jerry Stiller and Ann Mira, and Ben and Amy would say Ann Jackson and Eli Wallach.
Right.
So
right.
The trade-off, but there were great things about it, but also as an actor, even more pressure. In a certain way, right? Everyone thinks nepotism's so great, but then you have to double prove yourself. But look, I've been doing this for 54 years, so still going.
You are. And this play, I'm telling you, it's called, again, The People Versus Lenny Bruce. There is a ticket link. I make nothing from this, by the way. Out of the goodness of my heart, I said, I take pity upon this poor playwright who doesn't know how to do social media. I said, I'll promote some of this show for you. Go to Lenny Bruce Play on Instagram or Lisa Lampanelli on Instagram. There is a ticket link. The show performances start May 7th is when previews start. So it's off-Broadway. It's going to be beautiful. The script is hilarious. By the way, I was so scared to read it when they asked me to get involved because I'm always afraid if I read it and don't like it, I'm going to have to lie, like when you see an ugly baby. And I love the script. I think it's really obviously resonates now. Yeah. And I was like, okay, how do we translate freedom of speech to everyday life? Because I made a living off just saying whatever I thought was best, that I had the right intention behind as a comic. But also in everyday life, we're allowed to say anything we want. I could have barged in here today, called Celia the C word, and expected, I get to do and say whatever I want. But also I think what people forget now, but then you got the repercussions. Then you've got the stuff that comes back on you. And you have to pay the consequences too. So do you feel like this, just a freedom of speech in general, is sort of resonant now?
Oh, absolutely. And, it's funny because our dad's older brother, someone who was called Sam Wallach, was a teacher in Brooklyn, and he was blacklisted during the McCarthy era. So I think you're absolutely right. This is so resonant now. The other interesting tie-in with Dorothy Kilgallen, who I play, is that Dorothy had a radio show first with her husband. And then she became really famous because she was on a great game show that was extremely popular called What's My Line?
Oh, yeah.
And my parents and Alan Arkin were on What's My Line when they were doing the play Love that, Murray Schiskell wrote. So there are all these bizarre tie-ins to it. But I think freedom of speech is definitely under attack. Now, it's so sadly, this many years later, we're still having to fight for the right to free speech.
Yeah. And again, I realize some of the stuff Lenny Bruce said or controversial comics have said in the past, whether it's like my friend Rich Voss or just other people like that, Jim Norton, people who I happen to agree with politically. How about the ones I don't agree with? And I'm like, ugh, they get to have freedom of speech too, and it pisses me off.
Absolutely.
So do I want Joe Rogan to be able to promote some whack job on his podcast? I don't want him to,
Right.
but I get that we need him to.
Right. Well, hopefully in this country, everyone can speak, even if they are ginormous a-holes. So, yeah.
But I'm also really happy when like millions and millions turn out for the No King stuff,
Hey.
and not so thrilled when the tiki torches come out for the fucking white supremacy stuff.
Really?
But I'm like, I know, weirdly, I'm not a white supremacist yet. I will hopefully one day. But it's just like, oh, I hate that it's protects the speech for them.
Yeah.
But it has to, because then it won't protect it for me.
Exactly.
You know? So in everyday
It's in
life,
a little thing called the Constitution.
I know.
you know.
Well, that's not going to be in existence in 4 years. Come on,
Well.
girls. So, Celia, I know the words freedom of speech sound lofty, but like, do you notice yourself like just going, well, I just want to be me. I just want to say what I want to say. And like, does sometimes it backfire?
I mean, I say what I want to say mostly just in my head. Yeah. Like, I'll like really think something non-PC and just keep it to myself. Or there's like
That's
certain
interesting.
There's certain friends who I feel like, like they know you so deeply that
Right.
you can really say whatever you want.
Yeah.
And like they'll laugh or they'll take it with a grain of salt. But
Yeah.
I mean, these days you can't be walking down the street and saying things that.
Well, it's so funny when you say it in your head, because I have a coach, a somatic coach, and yesterday, and I've been wondering for a long time if he's gay, but I don't want to like ask, 'cause I don't think it's any of my business. But like, why do I want to know? I want to know.
Have you tried kissing him?
No, we do Zoom, and I tried to show
okay.
him a tit, and it didn't work.
right, okay.
So that never works for anyone. So I freaking yesterday he had on the Zoom, and I'm not even lying. I get that somatics, they can be woo-woo type of people. It was like a furry kind of festival wear vest. And I go, oh, I love your furry gay vest. I figured I'd shove gay right in there. And he just started laughing. So I'm like, oh, cool. Okay, so maybe we broached the subject. But I would have had to pay the consequences if he said back to me, look, I honestly, like, we're in a therapeutic environment. I'm kind of offended that you would say this. So I have to allow him to have that experience too. Thank God he laughed. I did at one point say the R word, but from a quote from someone, I said, so-and-so said this R word person. Mm-hmm. And he didn't seem to blanch at that. So in a quote, I think it's okay. But it's so hard to try to be just a human and not blurt out everything you want to. Because on stage, that's what I did. I was like, well, too bad. I know what I mean. I know my intention.
Yeah, but the artist has that kind of freedom, right? I mean, hopefully artists have more freedom than other civilians do.
Right.
For a reason, because it's about provocation. Mm-hmm. It's getting people hopefully to think about things that they don't ordinarily want to or even understand about themselves, right? So it's provocation. And certainly that was the thing about Lenny. He was such a provocateur, you know. But I also really think that to a certain extent, not so subliminally, it was probably his politics that really got them going, as opposed to, you know, the obscenity, slapping him with obscenity laws was just convenient.
Sure.
You know, at that time.
Because even if you see the play, which you should, go to Lenny Bruce Play on Instagram and get tickets, the jokes themselves on paper, like with my material too, not that I was at all as anything near a Lenny Bruce, on paper, like you're like, oh, read blandly, this is just dumb. But then he explains it and he performs it. The actor is going to perform it the way Lenny actually did, as a beautiful like closing. And you're like, oh, he was making a commentary on this issue and this issue.
Absolutely.
By what's ostensibly a dick joke or a pee joke.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, so there's a bigger message here.
Exactly. You could say he was a beat poet in that sense, right? You know, of that time.
Well, I always said, like, when people would ask me, well, why do you make all the jokes about race or about gays or this or that? And I'm like, because it's not funny to say, hi, I'm including everyone because everyone should be included in society and treated equally. That's not funny. But by including everybody, you're demonstrating it and you're showing it. Nobody's going to listen to, I'm not doing a TED Talk. Comics aren't doing, Lenny Bruce was not doing a TED Talk.
Right.
He was going, okay, let me show you how dumb society's acting and how these beliefs are stupid through performing this type of material.
Right. And I mean, he was pushing back against, remember at that time, it was a real swing and he was pushing back against the repression, you could say, of the 50s.
Yeah.
So those guys who were on the fringe, the early beatniks.
Yeah.
I mean, there would be no, things would be very different now without that generation. Let's put it that way, because they were really groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And brave, and they talk about paying the consequences. He certainly did.
Yeah. Well, your mom was, let's see, how old was your mom in the 50s? Was she like a wife and mom yet?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was born in 55, and she turned 30 in 1955. I'm really bad at math, so.
That's okay. So are all of us. Don't worry. Nobody, no listeners of ours are Asian.
But yeah.
See? And that's something you can't say, and I will have to suffer the consequences.
There you go.
But my Asian friend Bonnie said it's okay.
In the 50s, a 30-year-old woman is very different than a 30-year-old woman in my generation in the 60s and 70s, really 70s, right? So you're already a quote-unquote grown-up by that point, So different times, different pressures. So yeah, she was already, I was her second child. So she was already a mom of two at age 30.
Wow. So is it where, you know how people are always glamorizing the 50s? Oh, if it was, those were the days. Mm-hmm. Oh, if we could just go back.
Sure, to all that smoking and drinking.
Yeah, and also the voters being all white.
Right.
It's like that's kind of what you want
back. So we address some of that in the play, too. The fact that Dorothy Kilgallen makes a comment about Senator. He was then Senator Goldwater.
Right.
What's interesting to me about her is that she was actually quite a conservative Catholic, but she was such. She also was such an extraordinary journalist, and she spent a lot of time covering really incredible murder trials and trials of the time. So she was fascinated, I think, by the law. Yeah. So once she got into that courtroom, she really believed, she had seen Lenny perform, and she really thought he was a brilliant, brilliant talent. Yeah. And wordsmith, she was really taken with his writing too. And she really went to bat for him. I mean,
I know that script is powerful. That's the part in the play that when I was reading, I was like, oh, I cannot wait to see this.
She eviscerates his.
I always love when a woman just cuts the dick off of a guy in a courtroom.
It's fantastic
it's
what she does to the prosecuting attorney. She just rakes him over the coals. It's great.
I love that's I think why we watch Law and Order SVU, because just to see old Mariska Hargitay cut a dick off a guy every week, man. She's a freaking icon. Yeah. So, cool. When do you all start? Have you started rehearsals yet?
No, we start rehearsals the April 20th. Yeah.
Oh my God, how exciting.
We start previews, as you said, but then we open on the 14th, and we're also going to get to play all through the whole month of June, which is great.
Love that. Oh, it's so classy. People go to the theater. It's classy. Even if you're like a Nick, like someone who has no breeding, whose father is a loser who declared bankruptcy twice. Even if you're a Celia, who's a young upstart coming up in the business, and she has wide eyes, and she's like, oh my God, I have a migraine, but I suffered through. I'm going to go to the theater. Go to the theater. There's nothing like a live performance. Celia, do you go to the theater ever? Out of curiosity?
Not really.
I'll get you tickets.
At the beginning of this year that I want to start going more, and then I ended up actually going to 2 in 1 week.
So wait, what did you see?
I saw All Out, and then I saw Maybe Happy Ending.
Oh my God. Okay. I can't. Maybe Happy Ending. I'm not what you'd call a typical romantic because I hate being in love because it just has not worked out for me. That is the most romantic show of all time. What did you think?
I loved it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I loved it a lot.
Yeah.
I've heard otherwise from
Stupid people.
close sources.
Hate them.
I enjoyed it. I also don't really have like a high standard for Broadway because I'm not like a huge fan or super like I am a fan. I just
Well, you didn't go yet a lot. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I
like
just
I'm not
don't-
a huge jazz fan because I haven't had the opportunity to go see it much.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I've seen the opera 3 times, only because before my father, like 3 years before he passed, I was like, oh, let's start going to the opera
And
together.
honey, you're an Italian.
And
Come on.
I know. I felt bad. I had to
Oh.
read the translation on the back of the seat. But I think the more we see it, we're like, oh, that's cute. I like that. So you're going to come to this play with me.
Okay.
I'm sorry I couldn't get you into the SNL episode with
you got
Harry
me the
Styles.
closest to, as compared
know.
to anyone else I spoke to.
But I can get you free tickets to the People Versus Lenny Bruce.
Great, I'll be there.
Previews start May 7th. Go to my Instagram, Lisa Lampanelli, or go to Lenny Bruce Play, and the ticket link is right there.
Dear Lisa,
Yeah?
I love the word retarded.
Oh, God. Did I just say?
That is not coming from me.
Wait, okay, yes. I absolve you, Celia, from any controversy for these letters. If people are saying it, you are doing them in quotes. We do not say the R word,
Okay.
except I say it to my therapist. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so
Say it again.
Dear
Lisa.
I love the word retarded. I grew up with it. I use it on my friends, and I still make fun of myself with it. Yesterday, I used it in a group chat, and none of the other 4 people responded. These were other moms I know, but not close friends.
Moms.
Do you think I should stop saying retarded in group chats? Thanks. Debbie in New York, New York.
I kind of think Debbie should stop saying the R word in general. And this is from someone who liberally used it quite a bit on stage, but not in real life. I use it now, like I said, I say the R word. What's another word we can use that isn't the R word? That's the problem. By the way, there is an honorable way to use the word. When you say something's growth has been stunted, you say their growth has been retard. So it's not like a bad word in the context of correctness there and in using it in the correct, proper way of speaking. But dude, which I can't do at this time, the word as a pejorative, it's tough. It's tough. And I think even years ago, Howard Stern, when he became, which I love, a little more enlightened, was like, they used to have someone on called Wendy the R word, and he changed it to Wendy the slow adult because that's what she wanted. So I would say ask the people what they want and what they're comfortable with. I don't know. I think, Debbie, if you're making enemies, that's your consequence. Either find really cool people, quote, cool people who want to hear the word, or you're going to have to find other friends because your mom bitches ain't delighted with you right now. What do you think, Roberta?
Well, mentally challenged. And I mean,
yeah.
Or whatever. It's tricky these days that things become so PC, right?
Right.
That you're censoring yourself to a certain extent. But I think your point, Lisa, is really well taken. It has so much to do with context.
Yeah.
It's hard to generalize. But because I do have people I've known in my life who are more mentally challenged, I don't want to particularly make fun of them. And so, for example, when my nephews were young, they came from a generation where they would just say everything was gay. Oh, you're so gay.
Oh,
You're
that's
gay.
right.
You're so
Yes,
gay.
yes, yes.
And I almost physically accosted them. I said, if you say it one more time, I'm punching you in the face because, listen, you little faggot,
Oh my God, I love that.
Whatever. Because it's just. But it comes from, I think, lack of education. It's just like people don't really know. I mean, generations, right? I would have to say to my parents, don't say Oriental. I would say you have to say Asian, Mom, or whatever. But it's not their fault. They come from a different time. But when it's something that's cool in a generation, they're not really thinking it through on how it can really be offensive. Same thing with the N-word.
Well,
there are generations. I had a black mom too, who helped raise me. And for someone like that, who was part Native American, who had fought against the KKK, that's not funny,
No, and I think it's almost like we first of all, new generations have to give our generation time to grow and learn. And again, I talked about this before. I have a trans friend who for the first couple of years, I would constantly misgender them.
Right.
And I would say, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Right.
And he would go, it's fine. I know the intention isn't bad.
Right.
But in the general...
I mean, we're doing the best we can. I have a hard
Yeah.
time with the pronouns, and of course, I always say because it's not they is
It's
a
not
plural,
natural.
right?
It's not-
so
yeah.
so I'm such an asshole. Someone once asked me, at a round table, what are your pronouns? And I said my pronouns are dame and star.
I actually like that because I just say mine's cunt.
There you go.
And so I think that works. But to Debbie,
yeah.
know your audience. If it's not working for you, don't do it. I think that's the thing. It's not working for you. And also, I question why do you want to keep alienating people? Is that your psychological way of distancing yourself, of being like, I'm a cool mom, I'm not a regular mom? Is that your way of, well, look at me, the victim who people are against? So you have to investigate why you're willing. Like this weekend, I'm going to Kripalu for a meditation and yoga retreat. Like you can't yell at the front desk person. They have a nonviolence policy. Like if my room isn't warm enough, like I remember once I was freezing and had to move to a different room, you have to really be calm and just stand there and be like, do you mind if I move to another room? Even if they say we don't have one, you say, well, I would like a refund. Like you can't be loud. You gotta know your audience a little. And her audience, it's clearly landing that it's not working for old Debbie. So get new friends, ask yourself why you want to isolate and stay different, and work on yourself. Go to therapy. Okay, next.
Okay. Dear Lisa, my dad is 70 and still refers to my brother as the homosexual. I've told him to say gay, but he refuses to and says it's a free country. Does free speech excuse someone from acting like an asshole? Thanks. April in Austin, Texas.
Wait, but so I guess the problem is in the word the.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, my son is homosexual is fine. My son, the homosexual, isn't, which I always appreciated when black fans would come up to me after shows and be like, I would rather you called us, the way you joke around with the slurs, I would rather that than hear someone with hate go, oh, that African American or the black. So I think this is like the way the father's saying it. Does it sound that way to you, Roberta?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
almost like
definitely.
he's jabbing at him.
Yeah, but also as you were saying before, I think check in with your son. What does he want to? How does he want to be referred to?
That's true.
There are a lot of gay men I know who like to be called homosexual, or like to be called, whatever it is. But eventually, hopefully, a lot of this typecasting, if you will, will disappear. We're just human beings, So, but we've all been programmed to label. So
yeah.
Right? But Lisa, I'm ready to pay you $600 an hour to shrink me, man. That was incredible.
I'm so good at shrinking people.
Such a good
People don't
shrink, Lisa.
understand how erudite I
Another
am.
one of her major talents. Woo!
There you go. But yeah, I would just say, and again, what was the actual question though? Like at the end, what's the two choices? Do I let my dad be an asshole?
Does free speech excuse someone from acting like an asshole?
It doesn't excuse them, but it allows them. That's the whole problem. It's like, and honestly, I guess you could just say to your dad enough times, Dad, ask him what he wants to be called. And again, then you leave it up to the person to have free agency and free speech. But oy vey, April, poor April, she's named after a month.
And by the way, I'm 70. 70's not that old. So it's not as if you're talking about someone, and I don't mean to sound like an ageist, but it's not as if you're talking to somebody who's well into their 90s or even the low hundreds, okay?
Yeah,
My dad is also 70 and he doesn't speak like that. So.
I know. I still say Latinx because I'm really worried about, because it became very popular during COVID to say Latinx, and I was like, I'm not going back. I'm staying woke.
Yeah.
Next letter, please, from a non-month named person.
Okay. Dear Lisa, my mother-in-law is a cunt, and I'm pretty sure she knows it. Can I tell her? Thanks. Robin in Spokane, Washington.
Okay, the mother Okay. Pretty sure she knows. I guess we need to find out, does she really know? Like, maybe you could, like, pass her a note. Like, it says, are you a cunt? And then you say, check box that says yes or no. That's like the old when you wanted to date someone in grade school. So maybe she doesn't know she's a cunt, though. Like, I say cunt a lot. Love it. It's always been my favorite word. Not as always, but all throughout my career and now. But I'm not a cunt in real life. And so I can call myself a cunt. So maybe, I wonder if she means her mother's an actual cunt. And I think if you're an actual cunt, you don't know. So I don't know. What do you think? Like, Roberta, have you ever been a cunt?
That. I mean, hopefully all the time. That's why I used the Britishism before, because the Brits use cunt as a term. It can be a term of endearment.
Right.
So, but you're right. I think if someone knows they are and continues to act that way, that's one thing. Right. But you're right. I think if most of the time, if you want to ask them, if you want to nail them and really ask them, if they are, it's likely that they're going to deny it.
Right.
Right? So how do you continue being one? Or maybe, listen, you can own it. These are tricky questions. It's like saying, what do you say to an alcoholic who runs around saying, I'm an alcoholic?
I know.
Good for you. So are you doing anything about that? So if you're a real cunt, are you doing anything about that? Or are you just owning that as your title and that gives you license to just trash everybody? I mean, what kind of cunt are we talking about?
If it's someone like me who's not actually a cunt but likes it as a pronoun, feel free to say it. Right. But also, you know what I object to too? I used to have people come up to me after shows and be like, hey, cunt. And I'd be like, the way you say it sounds like you mean it. So keep the show to me. I'm the one who's funny. You're stupid, and not the R word. I would be like, you're dumb. Just, I'll sign your thing and let's go. So I even had we talked about this on the podcast before, somebody come up to me at the cemetery of all things. And don't ever make jokes at a cemetery. You never know if the person's in mourning. Luckily, I wasn't all sad. I was just doing the flowers or whatever. But the guy was like, hey, is that big mouth insult comic with the duh? And I go, dude, that's inappropriate for the place we're in. So I think sometimes people don't have any delivery. So you got to be careful. I say, what's her name? What's this dummy's name?
Robin,
you dumb cunt. Don't tell your mother she's a cunt, or mother-in-law. All mother-in-laws can be that way. I get it.
Not my ex-mother-in-law.
God, you're
was
lucky.
Fabulous. She was really great. She broke the mold.
The best one I ever had, I dated this guy and the mother was dead.
I only
Those are the
had
best.
one, but
dead mothers-in-law are the best. But just don't rock the boat. Just do it behind her back, as all good sense would tell you. Next letter.
Dear Lisa.
Yeah?
I say fuck a lot when I speak, including at work. Can this legally get me fired? I don't say fuck you to anyone, but I do drop a lot of F-bombs. Thanks, Nia.
Nia's from where?
Arizona.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I love the F word. But I always had this rule on the roasts. I used to do these celebrity roasts, if you can imagine, on the Comedy Central, if you can also imagine that. And I had a rule, 2 fucks and 1 cunt per roast, and I'll tell you why. Because you could bleep them and you could still understand the jokes. In an 8-minute set, you're going to still hear the jokes. At one point, fuck becomes a default. So it sounds like for her, it's a default. If it's intentional, it's funny. If you're doing it for a purpose, it's fun. It's lighthearted. It can be like meaningful. But I think if she's just going around using it as an or a filler, maybe look at it and see, oh, what else could I say? Or is it holding me back? I don't know. She asks, can I get legally fired? I don't know. Celia, what is a policy? You have a job. Can you just... I guess they can reprimand you.
I would have been fired my first day.
Okay,
if that was a law or like a policy, I would have been long gone.
But it could be that you made someone like, say suppose Stephanie, our video gal, or the Asian Stephanie, or as I could call her, Oriental. Oh. If she's neither, which is why we call her that. Suppose she's like, hi, boss in HR. I'm uncomfortable because I'm Christian and I was raised like where we don't say fuck, so I'm uncomfortable. I guess they could pull you in
Totally.
and be like, look, your language is making some dumb cunt R word uncomfortable. So I don't think you can get fired.
But doesn't it also depend on where you work?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
if you
yes,
work in a
yes.
strip club, I think you're fine. You know, maybe I don't know, but
Yeah.
Again, it's what you said, Lisa. Know your audience.
Yeah.
Know,
Yeah.
But it's funny because true confessions here. When I teach young students in any language, by the way, forgive me, but it's a generation that says like all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Not understanding that where that came from. We're from Valley Girls, okay?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like totally, okay, so like, like.
Right.
So what I do is I say, if you say like one more time, this is as an actor, if you say it one more time, it's $1 every time you say it.
Ooh.
I get rich really quick. But what's great about it is that then they start to become self-aware. They become
Yes.
mindful of that they're just using it, as you said, as filler. They don't know where it comes from.
No.
And what it does is it dumbs you down because you're making everything, to use a big fancy word, subjunctive.
Yes.
It's sort of kind of like,
Yes.
you're not owning anything that you're saying.
Yeah, so a well-placed fuck
Is
but it has to be well placed. It has to be because I would notice even on those roasts too, would somebody do fuck every joke, which is fine. I don't care, freedom of speech for all, but they're going to bleep everything and it has no meaning. We're not going to understand the joke. So I think electing to say it is great. Overusing, who cares? And P.S. If a coworker's uncomfortable, they're going to tell. Yeah, you're going to know soon enough if you're fired. So who's next? What other mental midgets do we have?
Dear Lisa,
Okay.
are there any words you don't think we should ever say? Thanks. Lexi in Bangor.
Maine?
Yes.
Okay, banger. I don't think we should ever say banger.
Bangor?
Bangor, Maine.
Oh.
That's up.
but
way
banger
up.
is funnier.
Yeah, just say banger. I think we should never say, and this is obviously as a retired comic who said all these things, obviously the N-word. For some reason, even as a comic, help me analyze this, Roberta. You're Jewish, right?
No, I'm the wrong half.
Oh, so your mom was Catholic.
Excommunicated Irish Catholic.
But your dad was Jewish.
Yeah.
I can't even say the word, and it's not even a curse. It's a terrible slur. There was one Jewish slur I could not even bring myself to say. And I was like, am I being racist against Jews by not saying this? But no. The K word for Jews, I can't even say it now. So why is that such a... Why did you think that hit so hard?
Well, the Holocaust hit hard too.
Yeah.
So I think it's those kinds of things, right? That still have resonance historically for people.
Yes.
Listen, again, generational, because I've spent so much time teaching in Japan. I had to stop people saying Jap.
Yes.
Right. So, but to understand that it's a generational thing sometimes, right? That causes these differences in speech, in
Yes.
the usage of certain words. But I think, as you said, so much of it is, again, as an actor, as a comic, as a performer, it's the intention behind it. It's how you say it.
Yeah.
It's the context. It's how you use a word. And that's, again, what Lenny Bruce was all about. To a great extent, what he did was he would use, back then, which were considered very controversial words, to a levels of absurdity. Tits and ass, tits and ass, tits and ass,
Right.
tits and ass. So it was almost as if he was rapping.
Right.
Okay, so the
Right.
words... And that was something that Dorothy Kilgallen talked about. Yes, there were certain words that her mother would freak out if her mother had ever heard it come out of her mouth. But when you say fuck a million times, it loses
Yes.
its sting.
Yes.
And so I think it depends on, again, so many of these words that can seem really offensive, if they're said from a place, oddly enough, of love, can be quite funny.
And that's how I made a living because I knew.
Thank God.
I had people who. I mean, you have immediate ways to fact check at how it's landing with the people you're using it on. I remember once I filmed one of my specials, and I think if you watch the special, you can see them right in the front row, or it was a Jewish couple, probably in their 40s with their young kid who was probably 15, and their shirts said Jew number 1, Jew number 2, and mini Jew. And they will please make fun of us. So if I can fact check it with, okay, that's okay with them. They want to be singled out. Also, like, you got to be sure your intention is right, but not be afraid to apologize if there's offense taken.
Exactly.
I think people get really like, no, I can say whatever I want. How about just be like, oh gosh, it hurt your feelings. Like, just a human thing. So when you say the J word, JAP, I won't say it again because it came back on me so bad because I was taping my audiobook of my non-bestseller, Chocolate Please, the Lisa Lampanelli story. And George Takei and I were friends from Star Trek, and I had met him through the Celebrity Apprentice. So we really liked each other. And I had him record a chapter because just him reading it in his, and he would say this gay intonation is funny in my voice and his. So I like promoted and I said the J word about him, not knowing that in the 40s it was used so horribly against people in the internment camps and everything. Well, he calls me and he is so upset. Of course, I'm an idiot at the time. I don't double down at all. I center myself like an idiot and I start crying. But I think that actually softened him up because I didn't do it on purpose. But I just, oh my God, George, I'm so sorry. I would never, of all people, I would never want to offend you. So he forgave me. We became even more friendly after that. But I had to apologize. You don't go, yeah, man, well, you knew I was a comic. Like, yeah, he did. But also he just did you a big fucking favor. And you could say, I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings.
Exactly. But also I think it's funny about the Jewish thing because because I played Anna Frank when I was young, people always assumed I was Jewish, right?
Right.
Unlike Ann Mira, who actually converted to Judaism.
Right, right.
Our mother never did.
Okay.
But there are euphemisms too. It can be subtle, certain kinds of racism or anti-Semitism. So, for example, when I was a young actress, very often people would say, oh, she's too ethnic.
Oh, yeah.
That was code.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
you can't win.
You can't win.
No. Well, what do you think also about, I'm going to make this very vague. Do you think a non-Jewish performer should do Anne Frank?
Okay, so I'm going to tell a quick little story about that. I was doing a play out at the La Jolla Playhouse years ago, Donald Margulies' play, where I played a 450-pound undifferentiated schizophrenic whose parents were Holocaust survivors. Okay, so she was definitely Jewish. And at the time, Michael Greif, who directed Rent, had brought me out to do this play, and they were doing a production of Rent at the same time on the main stage. So PA comes up to me, an assistant comes up to me and said, there's a young woman who's a big fan of yours. She wants to meet you. Is that okay? I went, yeah, sure. So this lovely little African-American, this little black, fabulous little pistol comes up to me and she goes, oh, I saw you in Anne Frank. And I ran home. I thought you were so great. I ran home and I did you. I played Anne Frank in the mirror. And you're the reason I decided to become an actress. And I started to cry.
Yeah, sure.
And I thought, great.
Yeah.
A black Anne Frank? Why not? I mean,
yeah.
So I think some of this gets so PC as an artist that it's a tricky line.
Yeah, because I think I got a little too PC on that because...
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
So for example, I mean, I speak Spanish, but in this day and age, I can't get cast as Latina.
Right.
Esto es imposible, right? But
Imposible!
But and, I understand, when you look at a film like Breakfast at Tiffany's and you see,
Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney playing this, so... and for example, certain friends of mine in Japan thought that the film, the movie that takes place in Tokyo that's so good with Sofia Coppola's film.
Oh my God, Lost in Translation.
Lost in Translation, that they found it very offensive. They found a lot of that very offensive, and I can understand why.
Yeah.
But I think that actors need freedom. The differences are, I think, when it completely changes the context of the play or makes it so improbable historically, that's when you have certain issues. But
Right.
And again, a really close friend of mine is a real champion for disabled actors, and she has a real hard problem with non-disabled actors playing disabled roles. And I can understand all of that.
Yeah.
I get it, right? But at the same time, freedom of speech, we need freedom of artistic expression as artists.
So I know it's double-edged sword. It's just
tricky, but so it's you can't really make generalizations. I guess it's
right.
one case at a time.
Well,
yeah?
you know what's lucky? In this Lenny Bruce play, I will be playing a Black, disabled, Jewish Anne Frank at a talkback.
Hey, you never know.
People are so excited
that's what
to
I'm
see
hoping
me.
for the next president.
So, Roberta, thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure,
I
pal.
love you.
I love you too. It's so great to see you.
Yay. So everybody listen, go to my Instagram page, Lisa Lampanelli, or the Instagram page, Lenny Bruce Play. Get your tickets for the People Versus Lenny Bruce. You will laugh. You will be moved. You will learn about one of the greatest minds and mouthpieces in comedy who suffered for every other comic who came after him. Go see the People Versus Lenny Bruce. Roberta, good luck in the play, or as they say, break a cunt. And Celia, thank you for being here today. Get back to that mic and say goodbye to me because you love me. You're obsessed with me. You need me.
True.
Yeah, it's not true. I loved you. I missed you the last 2 weeks. We will be back in another 2 weeks. Lucky. And also, again, please listen to this podcast on the iHeart app. Is that what it's called? Yes, the iHeart Radio app, or wherever you find your podcast. Bye, Nick. You were here in spirit, but not in girth. We love you. Bye.